What's up, guys? So this was a highly requested video. A lot of requests to do this one. So I'm assuming that the requests are probably centered around the camera, because I guess if you're trying to get into content creation or you just take a lot of pictures and videos, you're deciding between these two phones. These are two really good phones to pick, and they do have quite a bit of life left in them, as far as like the software goes and stuff like that. So I think that's pretty important. So you can see the iPhone is going to be a little bit more expensive, basically 380 to 400. You can find a pretty good S22 Plus for around 300, and then I think for like an excellent version would probably be around like 350. But expect to pay a little bit more for the iPhone 13 for sure. Now, as far as the hardware, one thing you'll notice is that the S22 Plus is definitely a bigger phone here, as you guys can see. And it's, I think, a little bit more comfortable to hold than the iPhone. I think the iPhone is a little bit sharp, but also the iPhone is definitely smaller, so it's easier to one hand, I guess. But it is kind of sharp on the edges here. But overall, these are two very nice looking phones here. I do like the matte finish on the S22. You do have a glossy finish on the iPhone, so you can kind of see fingerprints, but not really on this color, which is nice. And they're both glass and metal. They're both IP68 dust and water resistant as well. Alright, so when it comes to displays, I think it's pretty clear that the S22 Plus here has the better display. So it's a 6.6 inch display. It's a dynamic AMOLED display. It's 120 Hz HDR10 Plus at 1750 nits peak brightness at 1080p, and then it does have 393 for the PPI. The iPhone does have a 6.1 inch display. It's also a OLED display at 1200 nits peak brightness, and it's a 1170 by 2532 resolution at 460 for the PPI. So basically the S22 Plus just has a more modern looking display. It doesn't have that kind of notch that Apple has here. And then also I just like that it's a little bit more colorful and more vibrant as well too. And then also it has 120 Hz as well too, which is something that the iPhone 13 does not have. So it's just clearly a better screen here for sure. I think that it really doesn't beat the S22 at all when it comes to display quality. But again, if you're looking for something a little bit smaller, then yeah, you might like the iPhone 13. But I just think for content watching, definitely the S22 Plus is the superior device here. Alright, so let's talk about the specs. So the iPhone 13, it does have the Apple A15 chip. It does have 128 gigs of internal storage and 4 gigs of RAM. And then the S22 Plus has the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, and that has 128 gigs and 8 gigs of RAM. As you can see, the iPhone definitely has the faster score here when it comes to the overall Geekbench score. So it's very impressive, the chipset on this older flagship. The iPhone is really fast. Now if you're just launching applications and stuff like that, it's not gonna be that big of a deal. As you can see, the S22 is pretty much still just as fast, but I would say the S22 still feels faster simply because of the 120 Hz. But like I said, the iPhone is running at very smooth at 60 Hz. It feels more fluid on the S22 for sure here. So let's go ahead and get into Subway Surf. See iPhone a little bit faster there, but again, not too much faster. So I wouldn't be concerned with speed, because both phones are pretty fast. But yes, the iPhone would be technically faster, as we saw in those Geekbench scores. Now I would say for the gaming experience that I think I would go with the S22 Plus, simply because for games like PUBG, Call of Duty, you can maximize the higher FPS. So for instance, PUBG here is playing at 90 frames, as opposed to the iPhones is going to only play at 60 frames. So that's the benefit of having the high refresh rate display here. Now the iPhone does a fantastic job as well here. We're able to play at HDR Extreme, or HDR Extreme for max settings, but again, we don't have the 90 frame settings, so it plays smooth. But if you're a gamer and you're trying to compete, then I would probably go with the S22 Plus if that's like your main concern. But other than that, they both do a really good job with gaming. I don't have any, real issues with overheating. I'm not like an extreme gamer, but you will get a very, very smooth experience with these two phones. Alright, so if the cameras are your main concern here, I think both phones take really good photos. So check out these side-by-side stills. Let me know what you think. The S22 Plus has a 50 megapixel standard and a 10 megapixel telephoto. Has 3 times optical with a 12 megapixel ultra wide. It can shoot in 8K 24 with a 10 megapixel selfie that shoots in 4K 60. The iPhone has a 12 megapixel standard and a 12 megapixel ultra wide. There is no telephoto lens on here, and it can only shoot in 4K 60. You have a 12 megapixel selfie that again shoots in 4K 60. So you do have a higher resolution and specs on the S22 Plus. But check out the side-by-side stills and video. Let's check out the speakers at max volume. Really good sounding speakers on both of these. iPhone 13 definitely more bass. Yeah, I think I like the sound on the iPhone 13. It has more bass. I think the mids, are a little bit cleaner and sharper, sounds like, on the S22 Plus, but I think the overall sound is fuller. Yeah, the S22 Plus does sound a little bit flat in comparison, so I think I give that to the iPhone. They're definitely a little bit better speakers there. Also, when it comes to your biometrics, you do have 2 methods. You have your face unlock, and then you have the fingerprint scanner on the S22 Plus. With the iPhone, you only have the 1 method, which is going to be, the Face ID, which works. But again, I do like having, 2 methods as opposed to 1 method. Alright guys, and lastly, battery life. So battery life is going to be pretty good on both of these devices here. I don't really have a big issue with battery life on these two phones. I would definitely say the S22 Plus to me gets better battery life. This iPhone has around 87% battery health, and it does pretty good. It definitely can last a day, but I definitely give battery life to the S22 Plus. I think if you're more of a power user, I would go with this phone. And not only that, there are some benefits of going with this phone for battery life. Like, you do get the faster charging at 45 watts, and then it also has wireless and reverse wireless charging, which the iPhone does have wireless charging, but there's no reverse wireless charging. But with the iPhone, you do get the MagSafe accessories and stuff like that, so you can attach the MagSafe stuff to it. So there's pros and cons with each. So basically, I think both phones are really, really good. They both will be getting software updates as well too, so that's really nice. So you got, quite a bit of time with these two phones. But yeah, I absolutely really enjoy these two phones. I think it really comes down to what you thought about the camera performance with these two devices. I think that's what it really, boils down to here. But yeah, so be sure to let me know what you guys think. There's, a lot to take into factor, gaming performance as well too. So I think those are like the two main things. So if you're not completely sold on the iPhone, I actually would get the S22 Plus. I think it's a better phone. So what do you guys think? And I'll catch you guys in the next one.